Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we will be looking at the Neca Shin Godzilla. This was released back in 2016, I believe, 2017, and I didn't acquire it until the closure of Toys R Us midway through 2018. Now, I've never seen the movie. I don't think I will be anytime soon. Just, don't know where to find it. Now, I want to preface this by saying I only have like 2 of the Neca Godzilla figures. This one and one from a movie I don't remember, but it's one of the 80s, 90s movies. Now, I've got mixed feelings, because on one hand, I like the paint and the sculpt. I do. It's pretty good. However, the articulation is really bad, and I'll show you why. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with the head here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. It's got these really great eyes that like just stare into your soul. Very creepy. Very well done. NECA's always pretty good about having the details right. So let's see, can we get it to focus? Damn it. Fuck the camera, man. Alright, but just take my word for it. They're really good. They're really well done. Nice white pupils. Very molten lava texture. I do like the Shin Godzilla design quite a bit, actually. It's a really cool, grotesque variation on the Godzilla style. You've got the various teeth, all nicely done. Let's see, can we get in the mouth there? Not very well, but yeah, it's just inside of a monster mouth. So neck, really well done. The red and black dorsal fins. I love the red and black color scheme. It's just so chemo, I will say, though, it is kind of shoddily painted up here. I'm not gonna lie, it's just kind of really... No, we're not tearing down the curtain yet. The curtain stays. It's just really well done. Well, this isn't well done, but the sculpture on the neck is absolutely phenomenal. NECA really knows how to get that shit done. They really do. You even got the folds, all that good stuff. Then we go on to the chest. You got the nice ribs. You can grab it, like sternum there. More really great details. Just very, very cool details. The shoulders, kind of bushed or kind of puffed out and whatnot. You really do get the idea that this is like a zombie Godzilla of the sense. Then you got these really tiny arms, very accurate to the material, if I remember correctly. Then you got the talons, little claws there. Very tiny arms, but I think that's how they were. Then we go back to the signature part of any Godzilla, right? The dorsal spines. Literally all Godzilla incarnations have it, and while they're really well done, especially this one. This one's really well done. I like it. The paint, though, I will say, gets a bit shoddy at the base. I know, he's supposed to puke out, plasma vomit or whatever it is, the atomic fire breath, but that shit's purple. It's not, orange or anything, so it's a little too bright, I will say. So you go down, you got more of where, the spines sort of meet the flesh there. The very fat, thick, sort of design that's prominent on all Godzillas. I wish they did trim the Godzilla designs down a bit. That way it makes making figures of them so much more easier. But some more really great details here. I really like them a lot. You got more folds. You got just looks like a very fat and oversized, lethargic maybe even. Then you got more of the folds and then the nice long feet. And then here's one of the cooler aspects about this figure is the really long tail. So, you know, the sculpt does break up because of the articulation a lot. Like, that is really bad, actually. It's not smooth at all. Because, you know, if you pose it without breaking the sculpt, he's just going to turn up and then, oh, look, he's just going to flare out here for no reason, you know. So, but still, the details are really great, though, overall. I like the sort of plating-esque look. The spines, which get kind of shittier, not gonna lie. You know, then you got a really good stroke of spine right here. That looks pretty good for what you're getting. Then you got this, and then I don't know what the fuck this is supposed to be. I know, like, it's supposed to be a bunch of mini Godzillas that are, like, forming together and that they separate, and that he's also able to shoot like the lasers out of his tail in the movie. So this just does not look really well done. Looks like it's burnt. Looks like somebody burnt fucking Rover's Red Rocket on a grill. And then Chef Ramsay decided, well, can't eat this, so just stuck it on this thing. Yeah, so for articulation, this is where all good things come to an end here. So for articulation, his head supposedly moves, but good fucking luck trying to get to move. He can look down in disappointment and not up at all. His jaw moves quite a bit. You can really stretch that motherfucker out. That's good, you know, a bit of a pivot. The base of the neck here, it goes up and down a little, but you're barely gonna notice. It's mostly a swivel. The torso, yeah, heaven forbid you wanted articulation in the torso of a Godzilla figure. Fuck you, you know. It does not move very far at all, and it is entirely limited. You're not, like, you can move it, but you're not going to get any significant poses out of it. Yeah, a side to side is the most significant it's going to get. No swivels, no up or down. Arms are even worse because I don't even know how they're defined, like where it is supposed to even meet, but they're just not fun to move. You know, up and down, a little bit forward, a little bit back, depending on how the sculpt's lined up and how it's feeling. You can, like, just swivel it like this. There's a pretty decent bend for a Godzilla figure on the elbow there. Bend, swivel, which makes no sense because there's a swivel / hinge joint at the hand, so don't know why you need to swivel that. The legs, you can barely move them due to the sculpt. It's incredibly limited. At this rate, you're better off just buying those shitty vinyls that they make of these. You know, they're not at least going to tease you like this. Yeah, they barely move. This one moves a bit more than the other. I don't know why. So yeah, see, this one goes out in quite a bit. This one just doesn't for no reason. I just don't know why. It's fucking stupid. There's a pretty good, decent bend at the knee for what you're getting, but again, because of the fucking sculpt, you know, you're not going to notice it. It's just going to look like a fat, stubby Godzilla. And a pretty decent hinge and whatnot there. The tail is like multiple ball joints, so you know you got the one at the base, swivel, whatnot. Another one at the base, swivel, another ball joint, swivel, ball joint, swivel, ball joint, swivel. And this is, for some ungodly reason, supposed to be bendy wire, but yeah, that's the world's shittiest bendy wire. Look, see, there's the holes, and yet no fucking goals. At least you can maybe, no, you can't even do it side to side. Barely. You can barely get it to go side to side. I'm gonna try. Oh, no, now I'm breaking the fucking tail. Okay, well, fuck you too. Bendy wire's just there and it doesn't work. So, final thoughts of the two NECA Godzilla figures I have. This is easily the better one. You know, it's just got the better design, the sculpt, the paint, to a degree, but articulation objectively on this one is kind of better, even though it's less articulation, but it works more than the other one does. So what am I gonna say? Well, look, if you really like the design, I guess, and you know you can't afford the other one, or you find this at like a retro toy store or a pawn shop, or you find it on like the internet for dirt cheap, then I guess go ahead then, you know. But this isn't like, I mean, I don't hate it enough to get rid of it, but at the same time I don't love it enough to like constantly look at it and hold it, you know. It's just a waste of potential. Alright, with that said, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.